السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. فاللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللسامعين ولمشايخنا ولجميع المسلمين أجمعين. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal, the Almighty, to make this gathering a beneficial one, to make it sincere for His sake, Jalla Jalaluh. We all know the authentic hadith, but due to time, I'll just paraphrase. ما اجتمع قوم في بيت وفي بعض الروايات لا يقعد قوم يذكرون الله عز وجل. There isn't a group of people, كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, that gather together for the sake of Allah جل جلاله, for His sake. في بعض الروايات, some narrations they mention in the houses of Allah, and other narrations they mention in a place where they remember Allah عز وجل. ويتدارسونه فيما بينهم, that they're reading the book of Allah, learning about Allah Azza wa Jal and His religion, Jalla Jalaluh, except that they get four things happening to them. نزلت عليهم السكينة, that tranquility descends upon them, brothers. That's the reward that, inshaAllah, may Allah Azza wa Jal make us from those people, that each and every one of us will be getting at this moment of time. Except that نزلت عليهم السكينة وغشتهم الرحمة, and also they will be engulfed with Allah's mercy, Jalla Jalaluh. وحفتهم الملائكة وذكرهم الله في من عنده, and also the angels surround those people in that gathering of knowledge, and also Allah Azza wa Jal makes a mention of them better than what they made of Allah Azza wa Jal in regards to learning the book of Allah Azza wa Jal and mentioning Allah Jalla Jalaluh. So may Allah Azza wa Jal make us from them. And before we begin with the topic, I would like to just thank the brothers that organized this. كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم in authentic hadith, that which is reported in Tirmidhi, where the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم says, الذي لا يشكر الناس لا يشكر الله حقا, that the one that does not thank the people hasn't thanked Allah truthfully. So brothers, those of you that are sitting here and you know the title of today's topic, which is the parents' right. If you know you have your parents at home, and this is a message for all those that are here today in my presence, if your mother or your father need you, then I kindly request you to go back to your house. Why? Because كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, when the companion came and asked the Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم, أي العمل أحب إلى الله عز وجل, which from the actions is the most beloved to Allah the Almighty? What did the Messenger ﷺ say? Birrul walidain. Being dutiful to your parents. Okay? Being dutiful to your parents. So even if you're in the gatherings of seeking knowledge, which is from these gatherings, and your parents are in need of you, then it is better for you to go back home and be dutiful to your parents. We live in a day and age today, unfortunately, for many reasons, many reasons, that we have become a nation where we think that we are better than our parents. That we think that we're better than our parents. Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Quran, as we know, the sole reason of our existence is كما قال الله عز وجل في محكم تنزيله وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. I did not create mankind and jinn except that they worship me alone. So the sole reason and the sole purpose of you breathing today and your existence is to worship Allah Azza wa Jal, Jalla Jalaluh. Tahqiq al-Tawheed, to implement Tawheed, to worship Allah alone without associating partners with Him. Now after that, Allah mentions in the Quran, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. That's the main reason of our existence, is to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا. Worship Allah and don't associate partners with Him. What's the next thing that Allah Azza wa Jal has made mandatory upon each and every single person? وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. After so many verses where Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Quran to worship Him alone and to not associate partners, Allah then mentions, be dutiful to your parents. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So many ayat قل تعالوا قل تعالوا أتل ما حرم ربكم عليكم ألا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا. All of these verses that Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Quran, Allah straight away after informing us that upon us, a right that Allah has over us is to what? Worship Allah Azza wa Jal alone. Afterwards, for us to be dutiful to our parents. Now, you have to be the one. I'm going to ask everybody in this room to raise their hands. Okay? If you're from those that you managed to make your parents happy today, father or mother, and if you don't have any of your parents alive, that you made dua for them today, raise your hands. Ikhwan, it's a question I'm asking you, please, kindly, raise your hands. So if you're from those that didn't raise their hands, what are you waiting for? Even if your parents don't live in the same country as you, brothers. It's not a shart, it's not a condition for your parents to live in the same country. Even if they're not Muslim. وَصَاحِبُهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا كَمَا قَالَ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Even if they're not Muslim, they still have an authority over you. They still have a right over you, that they're your parents. So what are you waiting for until it's too late? And then you'll be from those that regret. اليوم الذي لا ينفع الندم. The day when the regret won't benefit you. You'll be from the khasirin. If you're from those that weren't able to bring about joy to your parents, if you weren't able to call them, to be dutiful to them, to help them, then the night is still within us. Meaning, we still have until Fajr. You still have the night until for you to be able to be from those that you would make your mother happy. You will make your father happy. If they're not alive, you make dua for them. That's from birrul walidain. After they've gone. If they're not Muslim, that you call them and you make them happy, you still get rewarded for it. Who said to you it's a condition for your parents to be happy for you to gain the reward from Allah Azza wa Jal? Why? Just because they're not Muslim, it means that that's it, you don't care about them? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in an authentic hadith that when a person came seeking permission to fight for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal in jihad, and the Prophet ﷺ said to him, did you seek permission from your parents? He said, Laka abawan, do you have parents? Qala na'am. He said, yes. He says, فَفِيهِمَا فَجَاهِدْ. Meaning, that is the jihad that you need to do. That is the jihad that you need to do. أخرجه البخاري. It's reported in Bukhari. This is something that's from the greatest acts of worship. From the greatest acts of worship. Brothers at the back, if you can kindly move forward. If you can kindly move forward and come closer together, bi'idhnillah. In an authentic narration, Ikhwani, Prophet ﷺ, he came back with his companions from an outing, and he saw his companions gathered, and they started to sit in different positions. And these are the companions. He told them, come close together, for verily the shaitan, do not leave gaps for the shaitan. May Allah Azza wa Jal unite us as Muslim brothers and sisters in Islam. If that is an action where it's one of the most beloved actions to Allah Azza wa Jal, al-jihad, and Prophet ﷺ is asking this man, if you don't have permission, and then he asked him, do you have parents? He said, yes. What did he respond? He said, فَفِيهِمَا فَجَاهِدْ. For those brothers and sisters, as there are many, there's many brothers and sisters that they're reverts, so therefore their parents are not Muslim. Maybe they find it that it's difficult to live in such conditions and circumstances where their parents are not Muslim. So then they wonder, how can I be from those that is obedient to my Lord, but at the same time my parents, maybe they're calling me to Christmas. Maybe they're calling me to eat pork and ham and what have you. What does Allah Azza wa Jal say in the Quran? وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكَ مَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٍ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. If you're in that situation, then it's very simple. If they do request you and they try to call you to their deen, i.e. for you to leave off that which Allah Azza wa Jalla has commanded you to do. And this could be from the ulama when they explain this, even if they call you to ma'siyah. Let's say they're Muslim, but they call you to do haram. From that is from the means when you don't obey your parents. When they call you to do haram, or they call you to shirk, or to kufr, to disbelief, associating partners with Allah. But Allah Azza wa Jalla, and this is from the blessings of Islam. Wallahi ma fi deen a'zam wa arham min deen al-Islam. Sallallahu Azza wa Jalla an yumitana ala al-Islam. May Allah Azza wa Jalla grant us all a good ending upon the state of Islam. Even though they are calling you towards this, Allah Azza wa Jalla is telling us, فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا, do not obey them in such matters. But what should you do? What is still upon you? وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. But you should still live with them, amongst them, in goodness, in kindness. Even if they're Sufi, and they're calling to shirk, even if they're deviated. Ya Ikhwani, this reminds me, subhanallah, of something that occurs day in, day out. You're born and raised in this country, correct? Most of the brothers sitting here today, they were born here and you were raised here. Your parents probably migrated from their countries back home. So therefore maybe English is not their first language, which is opposite to you. English is your first language. Then you grow up and you become a young man, and then until you become a teenager. At that age where you think you're on top of the world, you're in your household and you're fighting. You're trying to exercise that manhood because you think now you've made it, you're a man. Meaning you think now you know better than your parents. It happens to most of the youth in this country. They get too complacent, they get too comfortable. Why? Because maybe they've now started to study. They've become a bit eloquent in their speech. Maybe they've gained a degree. Maybe now they've got a master's. Maybe now they've got PhD. Maybe now they have a business. They're married, Tabarak ar-Rahman. And then they start to become a bit arrogant towards their parents. Because maybe their parents can't speak the English language as well as they can. Maybe they don't understand the rules and regulations. Maybe they don't understand so many things. But all of this, Ikhwani, is something that you should bear in mind. That just yesterday, that was your father that sacrificed everything for you to be the man you are today. Where you are today, that's all the sacrifices, sleepless nights. And wallahi, many of you that I see today are not at the age where you have children. Ask me, I'm speaking through experience. Allah, alhamdulillah, has blessed me with children. Before I had children, yes, once upon a time I was like many of the youth, thinking that you know better than your parents. Wallahi, when Allah Azza wa Jal blesses you all, may Allah Azza wa Jal grant all of you righteous offsprings. Until you have your own children, that's when you realize what it is to be a parent. Many of the youth here today are wasting their lives. But not just that, at the same time, they're wasting their parents' lives. Because what? Now you think you're a man. That's what makes you become arrogant towards your parents. That's what makes you talk back towards your parents. That's what makes you ignore your parents. Maybe you can get away with it in the household, yes. Maybe your parent loves you so much they don't even want to speak back towards you. But wallahi, there isn't a single thing in this world after shirk and so many other sins. We're not going bit-tartib, in order. But the Prophet ﷺ says, لا يدخل الجنة عاق, that the one that is disobedient towards their parent will not enter Jannah. And the hadith is authentic. So ask yourself, what is in it for you? What is in it for you? What do you gain to be disobedient towards your parents? What do you gain? And that's why you should ask yourself, who are your friends? Who do you surround yourself with? كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, المرء على دين خليل فلينظر أحدكم من يخالل أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet said in authentic hadith that each and every single one of you is upon the religion of their companion. So each and every single one of you should look towards whom they take as a companion. Because if you have friends that also disobey their parents, they're not going to be from those that advise you to be obedient to your parents. Birrul walidain, brothers, is something that goes a long way. You see, the same way you treat your parents, the same way you are towards your parents, the same way you curse your parents, you kiss your teeth towards your parents, you're disobedient towards them, and you carry on upon that without asking their forgiveness, without making tawbah to Allah Azza wa Jal, without bringing joy and happiness towards them after you've done that. The same way that you make it difficult upon them. Maybe you could be doing something and you're free just with your mates, and your parents call you, son, daughter, baby, can you come and help me? I'm in Sainsbury's, I'm in Asda, I'm in Tesco, I need help with the shopping. And you kiss your teeth. You ignore the phone, knowing your mother needs you at that moment of time. Your father needs you at that moment of time. Why? Because you're with your mates. Because you're with your so-called friends. You don't want to make them unhappy. The same way when your parent tells you to do something and you've gone months without doing it, and your mates call you, that minute, that same instant, you get up and you go to your mates, you go to your friends. It's not difficult when they call you to do something. They're outside of London, you're driving, you go to them, and your parents call you, and you kiss your teeth. Maybe start even cursing them just for the sake of fun, just for banter between you and your mates. The same way you are towards them when they go to sleep, crying because you've disobeyed them, because you've hurt them. That's how your children will treat you. That's how your children will treat you. As the famous saying in the Arabic language goes, "Kama tudinu tudan." What goes around comes around. So ask yourself, what's in it for you? What are you going to gain by being disobedient to your parent? كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رضا الرب في رضا الوالدين أو في رضا الوالد وسخط الرب في سخط الوالد. رواه الترمذي. That in terms of being from those that Allah is pleased with, if you want to please your Lord Jalla Jalaluh, then please your father. Make him happy. If you want to anger Allah Azza wa Jal, if you want the sakhat of Allah Azza wa Jal to come down upon you, and that's no joke, ikhwani. Allah Azza wa Jal being angry with you, sallallahu al-afiyah, may Allah protect us. Allah Azza wa Jal being angry with you, وهو أرحم الراحمين, and He's the most merciful. If you're able as a human being, as a servant of Allah Azza wa Jal, that which Allah Azza wa Jal has given you eyes that you can see with, a mouth, you can breathe, you can eat, you've got legs, you've got hands, you've got feelings, you disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. Every single day, you disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. Each and every one of us, كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كل بني آدم خطاء. Each and every single one of us disobey Allah Azza wa Jal. ليلا ونهارا وخير الخطائين التوابون. But the best of them are the ones that what? Repent to Allah Azza wa Jal. If you're from those that you're a human being, you're a servant of Allah Azza wa Jal, you're disobeying Him day in, day out, but yet He's still blessing you, you're still able to breathe. You've disobeyed Allah in so many instances. He didn't take your eyes away, He didn't take your limbs away. You're still breathing today, ikhwani. Wallahi, that's ni'mah min ni'mah Allah Azza wa Jal. That's a blessing from the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal. You're still able to breathe today and you disobeyed Him. But on top of that, you've gained the anger of Allah Azza wa Jal. Think about how heavy that is on the Day of Judgment.
that you've managed to gain the anger of Allah Azza wa Jal. وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Even that in itself is disobeying your parents. Don't utter to them. And when the ulama they explain uffin, it could be that your parent calls you and you say, just that in itself you're disobeying your parents. Something so light upon our tongues. But when they're so cold, and I do quote unquote man them, call you, your friends, your mates, those people that maybe could be the cause and the means of you entering Jahannam, when they call you, straight away you answer the call. Straight away in a heartbeat, you're answering the call. Ikhwani, do you know how difficult it is to be a parent? Other than the uncles here, who from the brothers is the father? Put your hands up. Other than the uncles, who from the brothers here is a parent? One brother. Other than the uncles, other than those that have reached the age 15 plus, because they've seen a lot of life, they've got a lot of life experience. So most of the brothers here, you're not fathers. That means you don't have a single clue, and you will never have a single clue what it is to be a parent. And wallahi, the day Allah blessed me with my first child, I picked up the phone and I asked my mother to forgive me, and I asked my mother for her dua and supplication, because that's when the day I knew what it is to be a parent. Up until today, I'm still in learning experience. Because when you have a child and they grow up and they're young, and then they become teenagers, then they become adults, then they become parents, all of that is parenthood. You see, in your parents' eyes, whether you like it or not, in your parents' eyes, you're still their little child. Even if you're 70 years old, you're still their little son. You're still their little daughter. Being a parent, wallahi, is a mihna. Literally, it's an occupation. That's why in authentic hadith, what Prophet ﷺ said, that a man came to him and he said to him, Man abar, who should I be most obedient to? What did the Messenger ﷺ say? He said, your mother. He said, then who? Then who? He said, your mother. He said, then who? Then he said, your mother. He said, then who? Then he said, your father. So the mother gets the gold medal, the bronze, the silver and the bronze. The gold, silver and bronze. The father just gets a certificate. We take that, alhamdulillah. Yakfina. Why? Because the mothers go through so much more, brothers. The mothers go through so much more. 9 months. 9 months. Some of the brothers here, maybe you've gone through some sort of pain that you've had. And for 3 weeks, you're still complaining about it. You still remember it. And it's something so light. Your mother, 9 months. That's why I said to you, most of the verses you see, when Allah Azza wa Jal is ordering us to implement Tawheed, to worship Him alone, afterwards, وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. That's why this companion, when he asks, who should I be most obedient to? Mother 3 times. That's the deen of Islam. It teaches us why. Because all of those moments, as Allah mentions in the Quran, وَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ إِحْسَانًا حملته أمه كرها ووضعته كرها وحمله وفصاله 30 شهرا. All of these verses that talk about it. So when it comes to the stages of your mother as to why she gets the gold, silver and bronze, she carried you for all those 9 months. It could be even longer or shorter. It was difficult. She had to sacrifice everything. See, when a woman is pregnant, ikhwani, for all those youngsters, let's say she's someone that has an occupation, she's got hobbies, she's got interests, her own things that she likes to do day in, day out, she has to put all of that to a stop because of you. 9 months, she can't do what she used to do before you came into the picture. And you're not even you haven't even entered the dunya. That's 9 months. Everything has to go on hold, every single thing, for you. And then afterwards, you're able to disobey her, and it's light upon you. You're able to curse her, to speak bad, to dishonor her. After all of that time, you didn't even know what she went through. Half of it you don't know. And then after that period, when she gives birth to you, that period when she's in labor, how difficult it is. Brother's nodding his head, he doesn't even have a clue. Wallahi, akhi, you don't have a clue. I don't have a clue as well, even though I've seen it in action. Wallahi, you never know. That's how difficult it is. And that's why the authentic hadith, kama qala Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that if a woman dies giving birth, who can tell me what's the reward? Huh? She's a martyr. That's how heavy it is. That's how difficult it is. Have you ever thought about that? That's how difficult it is. And wallahi, even if you think about it, you will never know. Even if you've been there, you witness your child be born, you will never know how difficult it is. Hence why the reward. Hence why the gold and silver and bronze medal, as I mentioned earlier. Wallahi, it's something that is so difficult. And then it doesn't end there. So 9 months, she's put everything on hold. And then afterwards, what happens? She gives birth to you. That also is an ordeal. It's strenuous, it's difficult. And then she gives birth to you, and then it's the period where she has to nurse you. Difficult as well. And then afterwards, she could go through so many things. Postnatal depression, anxiety, stress, so many things. She needs another 9 months to recover. And then it doesn't end there. She's still nursing you for 2 years if she's able to. So look at all of those things. And wallahi, those periods are the times when you would never know. For her, it will become something that she laughs about one day when she sees you grow up and successful, inshallah. But for you, you would never know what you put her through. Because all of those nights, sleepless nights, she's sleeping 1 to 2 hours, constantly trying to make sure that you're okay. Maybe she's been sleep deprived for the whole 9 months after you've been born. She couldn't care less as long as you're okay. That's her main concern, that you're okay. Wallahi, brothers, think about it. Think about it, how difficult that is. Her main concern is that you're okay. You never think about it like that, do you? When she calls you, something small. And the way she calls you, most of our mothers, may Allah reward them all. When they call us with the best of names. Abdullah, my love, Abdullah, Habibi. And they call you and they request you as if you're their manager. The way they speak to you and address you, as if they're in debt over you. When they ask you, and then when you say, yes, ya ummah, yes, yes, oh mother, yes, oh mom, they say, can you help me? I need help with my phone. I need help with the computer. I need help for shopping. Something so simple. They're not telling you to carry you. They're not telling you to carry them on their backs. All they're asking is something simple. But yet we make a big deal out of it. That's why I said you never know what it is to be a parent until you're a parent. And even for those that are parents, you would never know what it is to be a parent the way your parent was like to you. Look at how great Birrul Walidain is. A man came to the companion وأنا عطاء بن يسار and Ibn Abbas رضي الله عنهما أنه أتاه رجل. A man came to Ibn Abbas. He said, and I'll read it in English just for the meaning, that I approached a woman and I asked for her hand in marriage. I wanted to marry her. فأبت, and she's rejected me. She rejected to marry me. وخطبها غيري, and someone else went to her and requested for her hand in marriage. And she accepted. She accepted and she liked the person that asked for her hand in marriage, but yet she rejected me. So I became jealous over her until I killed her. فَهَلْ لِي مِن تَوْبَةٍ, so is there an opportunity for me to be forgiven? What was the question that was asked? قَالَ أُمُّكَ حَيَّةٌ, is your mother alive? قَالَ لَا. قَالَ تُبْ إِلَى اللَّهِ عَزَّ وَجَلَ. He said, repent to Allah Azza wa Jal, وَتَقَرَّبْ إِلَيْهِ مَا اسْتَطَعْتَ. And when this was said, فَذَهَبْتُ فَسَأَلْتُ Ibn Abbas, he said that I went to Ibn Abbas to ask him, لِمَا سَأَلْتَ عن حياة أمه, لِمَا سَأَلْتَ عن حياة أمه, why did you ask if his mother was alive? What was the reason? فقال إني لا أعلم عملا أقرب إلى الله عز وجل من بر الوالدة. أخرجه البخاري. This hadith is in Bukhari. So he said, I went to Ibn Abbas and I said to him, why did you ask this man if his mother is alive? And then he said, I don't know an action that brings one closer to Allah Azza wa Jal, greater than being obedient to your parents. And this is someone that has killed someone. It shows you the what? The level of how important it is to be dutiful to your parents. And another authentic narration, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma قال ما من مسلم له والدان مسلمان يصبح إليهما محسنا إلا فتح الله بابين يعني من الجنة وإن كان واحدا فواحد وإن أغضب أحدهما لم يرضى الله عنه حتى يرضى عنه قيل وإن ظلماه قال وإن ظلما رواه البخاري. In this beautiful narration that Ibn Abbas he mentions, which is reported in Bukhari, that not a single Muslim who has both their parents alive wakes up being dutiful towards his parents except that Allah Azza wa Jalla will open two doors, meaning from Jannah, two doors of Jannah. And if he has one parent, then one door of Jannah will be opened up. And if he angers his parents or one of them, Allah Azza wa Jal will not be pleased with him until he makes his parents happy. So it was said, even if the parents have oppressed that specific child, that person said, even if. Ikhwani, this specific hadith should be something that we can all say that maybe we've been in scenarios like this. Our parents are not flawless. Our parents are not flawless. Our parents have our parents have wronged us in one way or another. Maybe our parents have upset us. Maybe our parents have even angered us. Maybe our parents have made it difficult for us to be obedient towards them. Maybe that's the case. But ikhwani, birr al-walidain, being dutiful to your parents. When Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, all the ayat that mentions to be dutiful to your parents, there's no conditions that your parent has to make it easy for you. It's not a condition for you to be dutiful to your parents that they have to make it easy upon you. The whole point of birr al-walidain is in every scenario you have to be obedient towards them. For example, if you woke up in the morning, from the brothers that want to get married, may Allah make it easy for all of you, and then your parent wants to call your father, say, son, I've got someone that inshallah you'll definitely be interested in. That's not birr al-walidain. You say, yes father, jazakallah khair, ni'mal ab anta. No. Birrul walidain is when they make it difficult upon you, and then you're obedient towards them. You make dua for them. Birrul walidain is not supposed to be something easy and light. Ibrahim alayhi salam, what did he do to his father when his father made it difficult? He wanted to make dua. Sa'astaghfiru laka rabbi. He wanted to make dua for his father. What did his father respond to him? لَأَرْجُمَنَّكَ, I will stone you. But still, he still was obedient towards his father. And this is the way that one should be. Meaning, even if, and I don't think anyone here's parent is threatening them, even if you're in the situation when your parent is disciplining you in a way that could be harsh in your eyes, maybe they've humiliated you in front of your friends. Wallahi, that humiliation that you've received from your parents, mother or father, in the presence of your friends, and you've got that ego, isn't it? Because that's what this country teaches you, right? Your opinion matters. Freedom. Hurriya al-mutlaqa, yeah? Apparently. Even if you're in the situation where your parents have humiliated you completely, they've angered you, maybe they've given you one across the head in front of your friends, wallahi, you should know that it came from somewhere. It was for a reason. It was for a reason. That humiliation, you being told off, maybe in front of your own wife, maybe in front of your own husband, maybe in front of your children, your friends, your loved ones, at work, at school, college, uni. It was for a reason. And it doesn't come from anything but love. And I'm not talking about every situation, but most situations. Your parents, wallahi, whatever they do for you, it's for your own good, not for their sake. And then ask yourself as well, compare it to how many times you've been humiliated by your friends, and you're still calling them, you're still befriending them, even though they've humiliated you. You're still calling your friends. You've taken it as pinch, literally taken it with a pinch of salt. You didn't even let it affect you. And to your parents, you want to get angry. Wallahi, ikhwani, we live in a day and age where we must understand our religion. It's very key. It's very crucial. It's important to understand the makana. And one lesson, wallahi, doesn't do its justice. It doesn't do its haqq. The status of the parents in Islam. But you have to realize and understand that as a person, as a child, your parent has rights over you that will never be taken, even if you were to have children. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said in an authentic hadith, من الكبائر بكاء الوالدين, that from the major sins is for the parents to cry, meaning that it was caused by the children. That's from the greatest of evils, greatest of sins, for you to make your parents cry. It's from the greatest of things. And remember, each and every time your parents are angry with you, you've angered Allah Azza wa Jal. So if you want to make Allah Azza wa Jal happy, then you do this by being obedient to your parents. Brothers, the station and the level of our mothers is so high that when a companion came, جاء إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا رسول الله أردت أن أغزو وقد جئت أستشيرك فقال, that I came and I want to take part in battle with you, so I came to console and to discuss this matter with you. Prophet ﷺ said, هل لك من أم, do you have a mother? قال نعم. قال فالزمها فإن الجنة تحت رجليها رواه النسائي. And this is the one that's authentic, because the other one is not authentic. That you should what? Be close to them. And the meaning of ilzam, meaning that be kind to her, be close to her, be dutiful towards her. Because verily Jannah lies beneath her feet. And then another authentic narration regarding the status of our fathers. Where Prophet ﷺ said, and hadith is reported by Abu Darda in Tirmidhi, Al-Walid awsat abwab al-Jannah, فإن شئت فأضع ذلك الباب أو احفظه. Meaning that the father has the awsat, and in some other narrations means like the most firm and the middle part or portion of Jannah. And if you wish, if you please, then you could be from those that are losers, meaning that you waste the specific means of you entering Jannah by being dutiful to your father. And if you wish, then you can safeguard the means of you entering Jannah by you being obedient to your father. See, Ikhwani, we as men, as young adults, young men, we have friends that we take as companions. But wallahi, you have to make sure that those companions that you're taking as your companions are going to benefit you. If not in the akhirah, then at the very least they'll benefit you in this dunya by telling you to do good things. So if you're from those that have companions that are of no benefit to you, and they're the same cause that are distracting you from obeying Allah Azza wa Jal, worshipping Allah Azza wa Jal, being dutiful to your parents, then you need to cut them off completely. In totality, there is no question about it. For those brothers that are married, and then when you get married, of course, you've got someone that you love, someone that is close to you. And at the same time, you have parents that you should love as well. It should never be that you're in a situation where you're making your wife perceive your parents. You should never be in a situation where you're making your wife be superior to your own parents. Why? Because you as a man, you still have this upon you. The wilayah of you that your parents have over you is that this hadith is still yantabiq alayk. And I will explain what I mean when I get to explaining for the sisters. Akhi, what time is the adhan? 10 minutes. So with regards to you brothers, you see many times the brothers, they get married. Before they get married, they're visiting their parents. They're living with their parents. And they're being dutiful. And then at the moment they get married, they don't see their parents. Months go by where they don't visit their parents. They're too busy because they fell in love, apparently. Apparently they fell in love. Ya ikhwani, ittaqullah fi anfusikum. That's your parents. Yes, she's your wife, but she just came into your life. That's your mother and father. You are where you are today. بعد فضل الله عز وجل. After the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal, you are where you are today because of your parents, not because of her. So how could it be that she came into your life today and she made you be from those that don't even visit their parents? Your mother's crying, your father's crying. They don't even know if you're alive or not. You've had children. Eids have gone by, year after year. They haven't even seen their children. Why? Because of her? Da her. Put her to a side. She's your wife, yes. Be kind to her, be nice to her. But that's your parents. How can she come in front of your parents? How? Ikhwani, forgive me for being emotional, but wallahi, it's sad. It's sad, it saddens the heart that we've reached a stage where we let people control that which is something that we should never let happen. That should never be the case. And you should always balance out. You can still love your wife and take care of your family. No problem. No one's telling you not to. But at the same time, you have to make sure you're obedient to your parents. Your mother calls you. Who told you have to tell your wife where you're going? That you're going to visit your parents. If that's the case, that you're in that relationship where maybe there's friction between her and your parents. Kun Hakim, be wise as a man, as a husband and as a son. You still visit your parents. Why? Because on the day of judgment, Allah Azza wa Jalla will ask you about your parents. And if you are obedient towards them. And wallahi, for all the brothers that are seeking marriage, sincere advice. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone comes from different backgrounds, different lives of walk, no problem. But if your parents, if you know that you wish to get married, for the brothers, and your parents are not pleased with that specific sister, wallahi, there could be a hikmah in it that you don't see. Wallahi, there could be a wisdom in it that maybe you are oblivious and ignorant towards. Your parents only want good for you. And if it is for all the brothers that have been in a situation, and many of them have, may Allah protect us all and guide us and guide them all, where maybe the brothers are in haram relationships, and then they've reached that stage where they've made tawbah, and now they want to get married, and they approach the father the correct way. And that's a message to all the sisters, that no man loves you and respects you if he's gone to your house and entered. What I mean by that metaphorically, that they've come and taken you as a partner without going to your father. They don't have no respect for you. They have no respect for you whatsoever. But if you're a brother now, you've gone to approach the father and you seek to take his daughter to be your wife, and he is not pleased with you, for whatever reason it may be, he could just be difficult. If he's made it difficult, respect yourself. Have some dignity and walk away. Have some dignity and respect yourself and walk away. Now for all the sisters, and it happens to most of the sisters, للأسف الشديد, that are in haram relationships, or maybe they've gone through the halal way, but they've fallen in love. Whatever that means for them. For them, they don't know what love is. You don't know what love is until you get married anyway. It's impossible for you to tell me that you love someone, you don't even know them. Taking them out in haram relationship doesn't mean you know them. They don't know you either. But now you're in a stage where you've already loved that person, you've fallen in love. And now you've gone to approach your father. And you've told him. That in itself is being disobedient to your father. Why? Because you should have done it the halal way, and you should have informed him and sought his permission. And for all the sisters, they have to know that from the most greatest things to a father is to give his daughter away in the correct halal way. It's an honor. So therefore, for you to go around doing stuff in haram way, and then for you eventually to go to your father, you're not asking permission. You're telling him this is the one. That's not called asking permission, because you should have gone to him in the first place. And now, the sisters as well, for them that are in the relationships where they've married by the fadl of Allah Azza wa Jal, may Allah grant you all righteous offspring and righteous wives and husbands. For all those sisters that are in that situation, it doesn't necessitate, and it's not a must, that because of the fact that you're married, it doesn't take away anything for you to still be obedient to your parents. For you to still be obedient to your parents. And a reminder to all the brothers, sincere reminder, make it easy upon your wife when you do get married. Even if you don't like your in-laws, make it easy for her to still be obedient to her parents. Kun layyin, be gentle, be easy. The Prophet ﷺ said in an authentic hadith that was reported by Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu, which is reported in Abu Dawood, and said, لا يجزي ولد والده إلا أن يجده مملوكا فيشتريه فيعتقه. Allahu Akbar. That a person would never be able to give back to their father that which they went through. They would never be able to give back to their father, to recompense, to give back to him being your father, except if they were, i.e. the child, was to find their father as a slave, mamlukan, as a slave, taken in as a slave, and then they buy their father, i.e. they free their father. Look at how difficult this is, just to give a picture, just for you to have a picture of you can never give back to your parents. Except that they find their father as a slave, then they free their father, and they set their father free. That would be the time when you've given back to your father. But hence why it's impossible. So that shows you the level of how important it is for each and every single one of us to be obedient to our parents. That's the time when it will be that you'll be able to give back. At this moment of time, ikhwani, it's impossible for you to give back to your parents. Your father, the one that goes out, sacrifices. See, the moment your father, if he's a father that's wise and has love towards you, which most of the fathers inshallah are, and they care for you, they will sacrifice everything. Your father had hobbies. Maybe they wanted to make something of themselves. Maybe they wanted to do something. But the moment you came into the picture, they had to put all of that on stop. All of that had to go on pause. For your well-being. The fathers that go out and work, the father that sacrifices, has maybe 2 jobs, does whatever they need to do, looks after the household, takes you on trips, looks after you, cares for you. When you're sick, he's mostly likely the one that's taking you to hospital, advising you. And then you get to a stage, wallahi, it's something that I don't understand how one can do. And wallahi, ikhwani, I'm telling you this, all the brothers here, if you have fathers, take care of your father. Just like I mentioned earlier, take care of your mother, take care of your father. Wallahi, you won't realize what has gone until it goes, as the saying goes. You won't realize the blessing until it goes. But then it's too late. I'm speaking because Allah yarhamu, I lost my father. May Allah have mercy on all the fathers and all the mothers. I don't have a father that I can go to today and seek his advice on things. A father that I can go to today and kiss his hand and kiss his head. You still have that. Take that as a blessing in Islam. Awsat Abwab al-Jannah. For you, you still have it. So if you still have it, then go today and kiss your father's hand. Kiss his head. Take his shoe off. Wallahi, your father's shoes, his coat that he wears, is more precious to you than anything you can have in this dunya. Not because of the shoe, but because of the one that wears it. He's your father. He's the one that sacrificed everything. Probably migrated, left his family for your well-being, for your future. Most of our parents have left where they come from in order for us to benefit. And wallahi, wa billahi, wa tallahi, and this is not all, I'm not generalizing, but majority of the cases, there's not a single father except that they want their child to be better than they were. Period. Every single father wants their child to be better than they were. Wants their child not to fall into the same mistakes that they fell into. Hence why they sacrifice everything that they had for your sake. The question is, what have you given back to your father? How many times has your father asked you to do something and you've delayed? How can you be at a stage where you're able to even speak back towards your father? How can it be? Why? Because you go to the gym. Why? Because you've got friends. You've reached that age where you think you know it all. Wallahi, even if your father is someone that doesn't understand, maybe your father has no understanding of the religion. Maybe he doesn't even pray. Let's say he doesn't pray. That means that now you start to become disobedient towards him. Maybe your mother doesn't pray. It means you become disobedient towards them. Maybe they're juhal. Maybe they're not Muslim. It means you become disobedient towards them. They still have a right over you, which is they're your parents. They're your parents. If it wasn't for your father, after the fadl of Allah Azza wa Jal, you wouldn't even exist today. If it wasn't for your father, after the fadl of Allah Azza wa Jal, you wouldn't be living in this dunya today. So therefore, how can you be disobedient to your father? If it wasn't for the mercy of your mother and how kind she was, you wouldn't be as healthy and as strong as you are today. All of these things, ikhwani, are just things. That's a small reminder. As Allah says in the Quran, ذَكِّرْ فَإِنَّ الذِّكْرَ تَنْفَعُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Remind the believers, as verily the reminders benefit the believers. And ikhwani, inshallah, on that note, we'll stop for the adhan and I'll conclude bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. Do you need this?
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
How many minutes left? 3 minutes. Inshallah, ikhwan, we'll just conclude last couple of notes because there's only 3 minutes left.
like I said, this is not something that's intended to cover the whole topic because I can't give it its right. That's how important Birrul Walidain is and its status. One thing I would say to you all, Ikhwani, is, Wallahi, if you've wronged your parents, if you've wronged or oppressed, spoken bad, made your parents cry, whatever it may be from uquq, if you've disobeyed your parents one way or another, then make today be the day where you call them. Call your parents if they're far away. If they're not far away, visit them. If you can't visit them today, then visit them tomorrow. And just ask them, Wallahi al-Azim, ask them. Why? Not because I'm telling you to do so, but because the Prophet ﷺ said in authentic hadith, ثلاث دعوات مستجابات لا شك فيهن. 3 types of supplications are accepted, and there is no doubt that they will be accepted. And one of them is da'watul walid ala waladihi, meaning the supplication of the father that the father has over their child and the mother. So meaning, if you are from those that have oppressed, have angered, have made your parents cry, disobeyed them, whatever it may be, even if it was 20 years ago, just call your parents, visit them. If they're not alive, then ask Allah Azza wa Jal to forgive you, make dua for them. And ask them to make dua for you. Ask them to make dua for you. Ask them to forgive you. Say something that's a joke, make a joke, say something that would bring about happiness to their hearts. Make them laugh, make them smile. Aid them in what they need for that day. Wallahi, why? Because many times you see brothers that grow up, have families, maybe even before marriage, they're struggling with stuff. Rizq, health, it doesn't matter what it may be. Things are going difficult for them. They start to wonder why. Many of them don't know the reason is because they are disobedient to their parents. And wallahi, from the barakat, that I know many brothers have told me, that from the barakat, from the blessings that Allah has blessed me with, brothers are saying, something that I even got, min haythu lam ahtasib, from means that I couldn't comprehend. I got blessed with this and I got this. Because of why? Because of your parents. The dua of your parents is something great. The dua of your parent is something great. Wallahi, birrul walidain amrun azim jiddan. It's a great thing. So you may have something today. It may not even be because of your action. It may not even be because of your dua. It could be because of the dua of your mother or your father. So that's why it's important for you to all make sure you bring about surur, idkhal al-surur fi walidayk. Try your best to enter that happiness, that joy to your parents. And know that nothing is greater after tawheed and so many other things, after the amr of salah and tawheed, than birrul walidain. That's why Allah says in the Quran, وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So the dua of your parent is something that's great. And inshallah, on that note we'll end. And just remember, ikhwani, you have to realize and know that you being able to please your parents, you've gained so many treasures in this dunya and more in the akhirah. But it's just about how many treasures you want, or if you want to meet Allah Azza wa Jal with Allah being angry with you. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.